Something completely different from this is possible right now. Reclaim your authority to learn. Anne-Chloé Destremau. Follow. 7 minutes read Oct 6, 2020. 77 It took me a long time to start grasping the vast possibility held in the meme, something completely different from this is possible right now. The hammer hits me while meandering through the hilly asphalt roads of the wealthy neighbourhood of Richmond, in Nelson, South Island, New Zealand. I am scandalized by a species that builds garages bigger than their own living rooms. It starts me fantasizing that this non-existent community could come together in a non-existent community hall, decide that their children should not have to battle cars while riding their bikes from one friend's house to the next, that the asphalt roads will be removed and replaced with blossoming gardens spreading from house to house, that therefore, any fossil-fueled vehicles will be banned from entering the community and left at the parking lot some kilometers away, the transportation being taken over by horses, donkeys, and carriages, that crash bam. My beloved fantasy world crashes on the sharp sun-heated stink of asphalt. How would these people take apart an asphalt road? Even if they could do it, where would they dispose of the stuff? Wait. Let me rewind even further. There is another question before those who would decide to take away the asphalt. There is no community here. Here are isolated people living in big houses, with big cars and even bigger garages. But that's not the real question. I keep rewinding to find the question that would come before the last one. Do these people even realize that it is possible for them to choose to provide something other than asphalt roads for their children to play upon? The answer seems obvious, but maybe it is not obvious. The answer is, no, they don't know that they have a choice. Modern culture renders the possibility of something happening that is completely different right now both non-existent and ridiculous. Non-existent because modern culture teaches you to give your authority away to unknown and unnamed powers. Ridiculous because modern culture educates you to believe that modern culture is the highest authority on the best thing for human beings to invent. Why on earth would you want something completely different from what modern culture is providing right now? The ridiculousness of wanting something completely different has turned into a bitter joke at the end of dinner parties where, to conclude a heated conversation about what is wrong in the world, someone throws their hands in the air and with a wry laugh and says, "What can we do about it anyway?" while knocking back another glass of wine. You might want something completely different from this right now, but how would you create something completely different from this right now? The domains of wanting something completely different from this right now, and creating something completely different from this right now, are vastly different domains obeying vastly different laws. Wanting is the central activity in a fantasy world. Your mind has the capacity to make up and believe in any sort of fantasy world. Wanting something completely different from this right now, without giving yourself the means to create something completely different from this right now, leaves you stranded in a fantasy world in which you have no power. Creating something completely different from this right now requires that you learn something completely different from what you know right now. This means needing to learn something that you did not learn in school, including new thought maps for ways of thinking and relating to what you want to be different. When you start learning things that are different from what you currently know, you could easily feel like you are going crazy. What seems to be logical, immovable, or unchangeable might stop making sense, might go unstable, might start to change already. It could also be that you feel like you are a becoming criminal, because what you would be learning your parents didn't know, your teachers didn't know, and your friends still don't know. Until you learn a new way of relating to the things that you want to be different, you are stuck at the level of knowing that you don't know how you can choose something completely different. In modern culture, your authority to learn was taken away from you at school where you have had no choice to choose, ask about, or declare what you wanted to learn. Modern culture school teaches defensive learning. You only learn things that fit into what you already know about, aka what they have already taught you. The world is so much more complex and unknowable than the logic-based fantasy world that modern schooling sells. The possibility that something completely different from this is possible right now emerges from different ways that you can relate to this. Learning about things that don't fit anywhere into your current knowing is called expansive learning. Where can you find different ways to relate to the world? outside of modern culture. For example, the Startover.xyz free-to-play online and offline matrix-building personal transformation thoughtware upgrade adventure game, a webwork of almost 400 interconnected websites. Each website contains new thought maps, new distinctions, new experiments, and new ways of relating to the world. By giving yourself permission to learn things completely different from what you know, you take back your authority to learn. This sets yourself onto a new different learning and creation path to create something completely different from this right now. It is now time to experiment. Experiments, http://startoverxyz.mystrikingly.com/right:1, matrix code scdftprn.01, commit to expansive learning. Right now, you can create something completely different from your unconscious commitment to defensive learning. Stand up, and say out loud, I give myself permission to learn things that don't fit anywhere into my current knowing. 2. Matrix code scdftprn.02, a way to bridge yourself beyond the limitations of your own knowing is to ask specific questions with authentic necessity. Authentic necessity creates an energetic vacuum inside of you to receive something that you didn't know about. If you build enough matrix to receive an answer, this answer will arrive reflexively and change your shape and therefore your interaction with the world at large. The experiment is to figure out ways to investigate, inquire, and research possibilities beyond your current knowing. Choose one of the following 10 assumptions to explore at your next team meeting. As the start of the meeting, read the recommended website out loud together and do a few of the experiments with your team. At the end of the team meeting, share what you noticed and what new possibilities emerged. You need money to live? http://becomemoney.mystrikingly.com. You live in a country? What do you mean when you say we or our country? http://nanonations.mystrikingly.com. You are trapped in the quality of the spaces you create in your day-to-day life? http://navigatespace.mystrikingly.com and http://setcontext.mystrikingly.com. You know who you are and what is possible or impossible for you. http://egostate.mystrikingly.com. You know who other people are and what they can and cannot do. http://boxandbeing.mystrikingly.com. You have plans for your future and the future of your children? http://whatnow.mystrikingly.com. Your feelings and associated opinions are true? http://foremotions.mystrikingly.com and http://forfeelings.mystrikingly.com. The reasons you use to justify your life are valid? http://gounreasonable.mystrikingly.com. You are not affected by your patriarchal upbringing? http://patriarchy.mystrikingly.com. You think that making your life into a quest is child's play? http://yourquest.mystrikingly.com. 3. Matrix code scdftprn.03, face into the state of your own authority. Read the authority website, http://authority.mystrikingly.com. There are so many dimensions and ways you have given your authority away to your parents, to your teachers, to the government, to the police, to corporations, media, and television. The faces you make on photos, which clothes you wear, how you set the table, when to eat meat or fish, or not, what is success, how to be happy, what is good relationship or marriage, how to make people happy around you, what to write, what to say, what your values are, what is at the center of your life, what to learn, what to choose from, what to ask, where to look and not look, what to be naive about or in denial about, how to avoid discomforts, how to avoid your own authority by not feeling, by not being centered, by being nice and adaptive, being politically correct. This is the state of your authority, you have given it away. If you have come to the line where you are not going to take it anymore, here is an experiment you can do. At 12 o'clock noon each day for the following month, choose one thing for which you will take your authority back. It could work to go to the person you have given your authority to and say, "Hello. When I was hired / when I was 3 years old / when started school, etc. I gave my authority to you for because I felt and I thought, I have changed my mind about this. I made a new decision. I hereby take my authority back from you about or, write into your beep book the habitual patterns you have been using because you gave your authority away, and what you could do instead to take your authority back. Then do that immediately, even if it is, for example, setting the dining table without cutlery, and announcing, "Tonight, everyone eats with their fingers." Written by Anne-Chloé Destremau. Next Culture Maker, evolutionary game world builder and possibility management trainer.